Boa tarde, quase boa noite a todos e a todas. É um prazer muito grande recebê-los para este evento espetacular sobre limitações da inteligência artificial, porque a inteligência artificial não pode substituir a mente humana. Certamente é um dos debates mais importantes do momento em que buscamos, por exemplo, as conexões neurais. Será que os nossos cérebros vão receber informações diretamente dos equipamentos, diretamente dos computadores? Será que essas informações vão chegar devidamente verificadas pelas plataformas que fazem essas intermediações, por esses arquivos digitais produzidos por inteligência artificial são falsos ou são verdadeiros? Tudo isso certamente são questões que nos afligem e que temos a honra de receber aqui hoje pelas mãos da querida doutora Vânia Aieta, minha amiga de longa data da PUC, que é vice-presidente do Fórum Permanente de Direito, Eleitoral e Político, Desembargador Antônio Jayme Boente, que nos traz e que nos permite a possibilidade de receber os palestrantes de hoje, o ministro Mariusz Załucki, da Suprema Corte da Polônia, e a doutora Beata Stępień-Załucka, que é professora da Universidade de Rzeszów, e que teremos a honra de ouvi-los, e eu desde já agradeço enormemente a oportunidade de estarem conosco aqui na Escola da Magistratura no Estado do Rio de Janeiro. Eu, mais uma vez, informo a todos e a todas que os nossos eventos estão disponíveis, gravados e ao vivo no YouTube, no canal da EMERJ, podem ser acessados posteriormente, além de serem acompanhados ao vivo, e temos várias pessoas assistindo e participando também através da plataforma Zoom. Então, é uma oportunidade hoje que temos aqui de ter uma palestra deste nível e com a possibilidade de depois ser vista e revista gratuitamente quantas vezes o desejar. Então, para conduzir esse trabalho, eu passo a palavra à doutora Vânia Aieta.
Muito obrigada, presidente, desembargador Cláudio dell'Orto. Em primeiro lugar, eu gostaria de agradecer imensamente à Escola da Magistratura, presidida por Vossa Excelência, pela oportunidade que nos faculta de fazermos esse evento de superlativa importância para o tema da democracia, para o Fórum Eleitoral e Político, né, do qual eu pertenço, presidida pelo desembargador Fernando Cerqueira Chagas, até porque hoje a inteligência artificial e seus pormenores em relação, sobretudo, ao tema, né, que é o objeto do nosso estudo, que é o direito eleitoral e político, hoje se impõe na ordem do dia. Temos tido várias iniciativas de modo pujante a cada eleição. Já nas últimas eleições, nós tivemos muitas questões relativas à inteligência artificial. De um lado, é uma ferramenta que reduz custos, automatiza peças publicitárias, mas podem acentuar o problema da desinformação, dificultando o seu necessário combate pela justiça, notadamente a eleitoral. E será muito espinhosa sempre a identificação dos conteúdos falsos, dos conteúdos editados. Por essa razão, nós temos que ter um compromisso que, em cada eleição, temos que ter esse grande laboratório para desenvolvermos caminhos para a superação desses desafios. e será exatamente, né, a hora de testarmos essa nova ferramenta, que hoje nos parece assustadora, mas devemos dizer que é tão somente uma ferramenta, sobretudo no que tange aos vídeos e imagens para as grandes plataformas e canais de mensageria. Poderão ser customizadas para diferentes nichos de eleitores. E nós temos que redobrar as atenções. Uma das principais preocupações, como eu já vos adiantei no início aqui da minha fala, é a seara da desinformação, sobretudo, em especial, nos conteúdos produzidos e advindos da deepfake, através de montagens e o uso da inteligência artificial para a manipulação, digamos assim, das falas, das imagens que são apresentadas. A Resolução 23.732, de 2024, já promoveu consideráveis alterações na resolução anterior que tínhamos, né, a 23.610, de 2019, para dispor, entre outras questões, esse tema tão instigante que é o da inteligência artificial nas eleições, além do combate permanente à desinformação, que com essa nova e potente ferramenta pode ficar sensivelmente agravado, demandando maiores preocupações e atenções do judiciário brasileiro. E, apesar de todo este impacto que essa nova ferramenta traz, devemos destacar que a inteligência artificial, malgrado essa sua pujança, ela é uma ferramenta tecnológica como tantas outras já tiveram o seu pioneirismo, o seu protagonismo. Como eu sou, né, junto com o professor desembargador Cláudio dell'Orto, já da turma da old school, eu lembro perfeitamente de um seminário, desembargador, que participei aqui mesmo na EMERJ, nos idos dos anos 90 ainda, sobre a chegada da internet nas eleições e os seus impactos. Era o ano de 1996 e a internet assustava as pessoas, né? A sua chegada nas eleições. E naquela oportunidade, a internet também se apresentava aos olhos de todos, né? Como cenário descrito no famoso livro Admirável Mundo Novo, Brave New World, na versão original da língua inglesa, romance escrito por Aldous Huxley no ano de 1932. A utilização da inteligência artificial, meus amigos, certamente vai aguçar esses desafios a serem enfrentados e não há condições de normatizarmos conjunturas com a mesma velocidade das inovações tecnológicas. E por essa razão, se considerarmos que o direito, sobretudo os tribunais e seus julgadores, não podem se abster de julgar as demandas, por mais hercúleas que sejam, teremos que recorrer às velhas lições da hermenêutica constitucional. E aqui lembro, né, aos meus alunos, tantos aqui que vejo, né, que acompanham minhas aulas, aquele famoso tripé de vetores interpretativos que compõem o seu esteio, notadamente o texto, o contexto e o intérprete, para a solução das difíceis controvérsias e das celeumas que os novos pleitos eleitorais nos trarão. Ao regular a seara estritamente necessária, a justiça assevera o cumprimento do princípio constitucional da segurança jurídica, que é cardeal em matéria, sobretudo, de eleição. Nós já estamos acostumados a resultados interpretativos mediadores por parte da Justiça Eleitoral em uma série de temas onde existem hiatos temáticos pontuais, né, certamente, no enfrentamento da disputa entre os players, né, que concorrem nas eleições. E é importante dizer que isso não significa criar direitos que o legislador não criou ao horror do corolário da legalidade, mas tão somente fomentar no plano hermenêutico resultados interpretativos satisfatórios para as demandas que estão em jogo. Vejam que precisamos pensar na aplicação lícita da inteligência artificial, desde que informada e identificada, coadunada com o preceito legal do artigo 9b das chamadas vulgarmente deepfakes, cujo uso está vedado. Tal vedação não significa, meus amigos, estarmos combatendo herculeamente a tecnologia, mas regulando o que é necessário regular quando a utilização da ferramenta está essencialmente maculada pela desinformação ou se presta para o cometimento de crimes e outros ilícitos eleitorais que mereçam a justa intervenção da Justiça Eleitoral com fins de assegurarmos o princípio cardeal da Justiça Eleitoral, que é o princípio da par condicio, espinha dorsal dessa matéria. Nesse sentido, certamente os provedores, em destaque os que impulsionam comercialmente conteúdos, estarão na mira de um maior controle e sujeitos à responsabilização se comprovado o conluio da plataforma com o cometimento de crimes eleitorais e ilicitudes que, por sua pujança, em se tratando da divulgação, possam não interessar comercialmente as plataformas tomar medidas necessárias para moderação e conteúdo por ordem judicial. Não existe direito absoluto. Vejam que é muito importante, já para terminar, aqui dizer que não se trata de lesão à liberdade de expressão, mas a liberdade de expressão, como qualquer outro direito, precisa ser modulado. Esse discurso raivoso de que a Justiça Eleitoral, com moderação atenta contra a liberdade de expressão, é discurso de grandes profissionais, juristas, muitos deles famosos interlocutores dessa matéria, mas que são, ao fim das contas, muitas vezes advogados das plataformas e defendem os interesses dos seus clientes, que é legítimo, mas a justiça defende o direito da sociedade. A justiça não é advogada de parte e precisa fazer o que tem que ser feito. Ninguém está proibido de postar o conteúdo que desejar e, nesse ponto, a liberdade de expressão estará cumprida. Mas terá que, como qualquer sociedade democrática, estar pronto para enfrentar as consequências advindas dos seus atos. É uma questão de gerenciarmos interesses legítimos de lesantes e lesados. O lesante tem o direito de dizer o que quiser, mas o lesado precisa ter meios, sobretudo de identificação verdadeira e célere dos lesantes para reparar o dano sofrido na justiça. E, nesse sentido, não podemos esquecer alguns paradigmas importantes quando tratamos de inteligência artificial. A vedação constitucional do anonimato é muito importante que lembremos sempre disso, porque é uma questão constitucional. O asseguramento do acesso à justiça dos lesados, e aqui parabenizando sempre o Tribunal de Justiça do nosso Estado, que é um tribunal honrado, que sempre prima por esse congraçamento tão azeitado, tão promissor com a sociedade. A Escola da Magistratura recebe tantas entidades, tantas pessoas, todo mundo, só merece os aplausos, né, de todos nós, jurisdicionados. E, sobretudo, no caso da Justiça Eleitoral, ela deve avançar nessa interpretação do arcabouço civil eleitoral para o enfrentamento dessa matéria tão instigante da inteligência artificial. Sabendo que meu amigo, ministro da Suprema Corte da Polônia, é um expert no assunto da inteligência artificial, sendo palestrante por toda a Europa, né, sobre essa ferramenta e, sobretudo, em suas falas, mostrando que não temos que ter medo desse monstro todo, porque ela é tão somente uma ferramenta. Eu o convidei para vir e já agradeço aqui publicamente o seu aceite, porque ele virá hoje nos dizer que esse monstro não é tão bicho-papão assim e que será certamente mais uma ferramenta que nós, da sociedade organizada, iremos dominar e utilizar para o melhor proveito, né, e resultados satisfatórios para todas as pessoas, né, em atendimento ao bem comum. Desembargador Cláudio, muito obrigada. Me cabia aqui no evento tão somente apresentar o tema, né? Os nossos palestrantes serão o ministro Mários, da Suprema Corte da Polônia, professora Beata, que é professora de Direito Constitucional como eu em seu país, e, na verdade, nossos colegas que estão aqui estão certamente ansiosos para ouvi-los, né? E não a mim. Muito obrigada.
Então, agradeço a professora doutora Vânia Aieta pelas palavras introdutórias aqui trazidas, e certamente é muito importante que a gente tenha, de fato, a oportunidade de ouvir a interpretação do ministro Mários sobre a ferramenta da inteligência artificial. Então, eu quero, desde já agradecendo, passar-lhe a palavra.
Panie i panowie, kilka słów powiem po polsku, żeby państwo usłyszeli, jak to jest piękny język. I'm sorry for that, but I don't speak Portuguese. And when I am abroad, I always have this dilemma, what language shall I speak? I always remember once when a famous Polish movie director, Andrzej Wajda, has received his first Academy Award, the Oscar. He said that he will speak Polish because it is such a beautiful language that everybody should at least once in a lifetime hear it. So I have started with Polish. You already have heard some Polish. Maybe it was your first time in life. Hopefully it's not the last time. And now, since you know I don't know any Portuguese, I will speak English. Ladies and gentlemen, estimated guests, Mr. Director, Professor Vania, dear professors, lawyers, fans of new technologies. First of all, I would like to thank for the invitation to Rio de Janeiro, to this famous and estimated school. It is a very big pleasure to me to present you some ideas about artificial intelligence, to share with you some thoughts about the things I consider interesting and sometimes important. I am aware of that this wouldn't be possible without my dearest friend, Professor Vânia Aieta, to whom I would like to thank especially because without her, this meeting wouldn't be possible. We are here to speak about the artificial intelligence, but from the perspective of a judiciary. And I think because the subject is very controversial, we would like to convince you that one day in the future, a robot judge will replace a human judge. Yes, a robot judge will replace a human judge. I know this topic is very challenging. I know it is inclusive of many points of view. I know it is debating lots of interesting ideas. I think we would like to answer the questions that are devoted to predict the future of the so-called artificial judiciary. But why we are even speaking about artificial intelligence and, as I said, future of artificial judiciary? Well, I think it appears that the third decade of the 21st century, and since you haven't noticed, we are already halfway through this third decade, will be a decade of new technologies, machine learning, the Internet of Things, big data, blockchains, distributed ledger technology, cloud and edge computing, 5G. Well, something else we actually don't know what it means or have no idea what it means, or for sure my mother doesn't know what it means. These are just some new technology trends that are already in use, and they already have revolutionized the world. And as the experts predict, these technologies will continue to evolve, and for sure they will influence also the next decade. And this is very interesting, and I believe that for many of us it is even very exciting. But what is even more interesting is that many of us have no idea how these technologies work. Don't you think so? Well, usually we just reap the benefits of these technologies. We reap the rewards of their use, but we don't want to know the technological details, and we don't delve into the technical design of these technologies. Well, we listen to the experts, and somehow we do trust the technologies. We are able to design new areas of activity, and usually we accept the development. We don't have any problems with that. But when we start talking about artificial intelligence, suddenly our trust in technology declines. Progress means fear. But I have the impression that this feeling arises especially when we are discussing the possible application of artificial intelligence in the judiciary. So if to be afraid, I think it is a good moment, because two Polish law professors will now speak about artificial intelligence in the judiciary. But okay, don't worry, we will look at this field only from the European perspective, and I don't think we will propose any changes to your system, but maybe you can think about it anyways after our lecture. Okay, so moving on, I think it should be pointed out that the office of a judge today is an indispensable element of the system of governance. But this does not mean, however, that the legal regulation of this area is optimal, and that this field does not pose any challenges for lawyers. Well, moreover, there is no universal agreement on how state power, including power of courts, should be exercised. In democratic states, as you know, judicial power is usually one of the balancing powers, so independent of the executive and the legislative powers. But this power, the judicial power, it has its problems, and they are related, among other things, to the protraction, the length of the court proceedings, or the inefficiency of the entire judicial system. Therefore, for some time now, various mechanisms have been sought to solve the existing problems of this power. And in the world of new technologies, so probably this is the world that we are actually now living in, more and more instruments that are responsible for mechanizing certain elements of our life are already in action. And this also raises the dilemma whether some tasks of the judiciary can be performed in automatized, mechanized, automated manner. Well, we do believe that technological advances, they already allow for their application in the justice system. However, whether we wonder whether it is possible for at least some court cases to be decided in an automated manner, that is, without the personal involvement of a judge, using just algorithms of artificial intelligence. Of course, this is not clear from many perspectives. And today, we would like to look at this area, and we would like to consider whether there are any possibilities to use artificial intelligence mechanisms to resolve court disputes. We will present some solutions that already exist, some solutions that are also being developed around the world, and we will consider whether their administration of justice is desirable. Of course, we have divided our presentation into several stages, what is obvious, but I feel like the most important element of the discussion on artificial intelligence and other new technologies in the judiciary is the issue of a right to a fair trial. At least this is the name of this right that is referred to in the European countries, but you can also encounter the term right to a court or right to a due process, and they essentially mean the same thing, shaping court proceedings in such a way that the citizen can feel that his case is being decided by an independent and impartial court. So in this regard, I would like to remind you that in this part of the world, there is the American Convention on Human Rights, and in this, it's similar to the European one. It also contains a provision that states that every citizen has a right to a court. Article 25 of this specific convention states that everyone has the right to a simple and prompt claim or other effective means to a competent court or tribunal. So the first question I would like to ask is whether new technologies can influence the perception of a given country's implementation of this right to a fair trial. And my answer to this question would be probably yes. One element of this right is the right to a speedy trial. And that means that, well, we shall not have to wait years for a court's ruling. And of course, this has already been noticed in many places around the world. This is why there are solutions sought to speed up court proceedings. And this is also one of the reasons why we are discussing new technologies and artificial intelligence today, because they are designed to speed up human activities and therefore to speed up the work of courts. However, is trust in new technologies and the resolution of cases by new technologies, assuming that they will now be fast and efficient, a sufficient motivation for legislators, for the states to allow such solutions? Well, we can assume that artificial intelligence, because of its functionalities, can have several tasks in the judiciary. Because it can assist the judge by preparing materials for him based on the predefined criteria. It can act as the judge's assistant, it can prepare draft solutions to legal issues commissioned by the judge. And it can also prepare draft decisions. And I think that everything seems to be moving in one direction. It is towards replacing human judges with robot judges, and these robot judges making judiciary decisions automatically, or at least in certain types of cases. We can all ask the question now whether it is possible. Is it really the future of the judiciary? My answer is yes, I believe so. But there is still a long way to go. Why? Well, there are many obstacles. First of all, the main obstacle are the constitutional provisions in individual countries, and also obstacles in the society. Because the constitutions are still formulated in such a way that, well, judge still shall be a human being. So it seems like they stay in the way of a robot automatically deciding cases. The same is with the society. I don't think we are used to this possibility. I don't think we'll ever be in the nearest future. But of course, this can be changed. But it requires a public trust. And I think that's something to be worked on. I'm sorry, I have some voice troubles. Maybe that will help. Okay. Well, today, as you know, there are also various known problems with the use of artificial intelligence, also in the judiciary, as Professor Vânia has presented already. There are artificial intelligence hallucinations. The possible influence of algorithm creators on case decisions, possible discriminatory views of artificial intelligence, the problem of the so-called black box, the lack of understanding on how the algorithms work, the lack of transparency in the operation of AI, and many other reservations can be raised about existing AI systems. I don't know if you have ever heard about the famous case that has happened in Colombia when a judge has decided a case using a chat GPT.
Dr. Marius.
Oh, maybe that will work. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I think I'll survive. It's just the weather of Brazil in the last days is not a very good one. Okay, so I don't know if it's hot here. Maybe it means a little bit there.
André, vamos abaixar a temperatura aqui.
So there was a case that the judge in the Court of Appeal has used the chat GPT to decide it. He asked the chat GPT with the questions that were stated in the mean of the appeal. And he decided the case on the base of the answers that ChatGPT has produced. Nobody has asked whether and who has taught the ChatGPT to give the right answers, or whether these answers were right, and how these answers reflected that person's view. And at the end, to what extent that was an objective interpretation. However, in this case, the judge has used ChatGPT only as one of the tools. He assessed whether this generated content correspond to his understanding of the law, and at the end he has decided the case. We may assume that using ChatGPT as one of the tools was correct. It is about the same as using the commentary to a legislation. At least this is how he has treated ChatGPT. But let's think if there was no human control over this decision. Would we still think that this decision was correct? We are not sure. And consequently, I don't think we can give already today a correct answer to that question. But for sure, I do think that there is a need to create AI systems that are transparent and that decide cases in a manner that is free from flaws that can be attributed to AI systems today, to the systems that are already in action, to the systems that already operate. But I'm pretty sure, and I've spoken to many AI systems constructors, that such systems that are transparent and free from flaws are realistic and they are possible to construct. So maybe in the nearest future, when we will have a little bit more trust to these types of system than we have today, we will think about constructing such a system that is free from these flaws that were already mentioned here many times, especially in Professor Vania's presentation. One of the biggest concern, and already also one of the biggest objections raised by lawyers against AI in the judiciary, is the lack of emotions on the part of AI system, which is supposed to decide all cases according to a single criterion without the empathy that, at least according to some points of view, shall be appropriate for judges. But I do believe that this objection is outdated. And there are two reasons for this. Firstly, AI systems are already beginning to mimic human emotions. The technology is now so advanced that AI is also beginning to perform very well in this area. And secondly, I think this is even more important. I personally believe that the judge shall not be guided by emotions. The judge, at the end, shall decide cases independently. Of course, with human being, it's not that easy. But no emotions means no bias. So if you will be thinking about the ideal model of a judge, probably it would look like this. And in this case, it seems like artificial intelligence may have some more advantages than humans. So overall, algorithmic reality is upon us. Well, to give you maybe first conclusion before any discussion may occur and before Professor Beata will speak, my basic findings, they boil down primarily to the indication that algorithmic reality in the judiciary has become a fact. When I'm observing the problems of the justice systems of many countries, and also the development of the artificial intelligence functionalities, I do believe that there are sufficient grounds to defend the view that artificial intelligence is useful for improving the efficiency of the justice system. This is why I believe that the future of the justice system lies in artificial intelligence. I would like to say a few more words why I believe this might be or already is a good idea. And the main argument, in my opinion, is connected with the inefficiency of judicial proceedings. I think it is worth recalling, especially here in Brazil, that due to protracted court proceedings and because of that increasingly long wait for justice, the inefficiency of the justice system, because this is how this phenomena should be described, it is perceived as the greatest shortcoming of the justice system. And one of the fundamental consequences of the inefficiency of justice system is the weakening of public confidence in this system. Negative consequences of lengthy, of protracted court proceedings are considered obvious by many. Therefore, the opposite, the efficiency of court proceedings are important value, and this must lead to the conclusion that the optimal court proceedings should be as short as possible. And the matter, of course, is not so clear-cut, but efficiency seems to be one of those factors which the administration of justice and without which the administration of justice and the justice itself cannot exist. A lack of trust in the justice system, it usually results in a serious crisis of a state authority and doubt about the meaning of judicial justice. And this is why I believe that examples of the use of artificial intelligence in the justice systems already found in many countries around the world, even if they are not the best solutions from the human rights perspectives and from the perspective of the right to a fair trial, I think there are convincing arguments for its use in the future on a larger scale. Before I will end, maybe I will speak some words later after Beata will finish. I would like to tell you one more perhaps interesting to think, because maybe you have heard about the first hard law regulating the functioning of artificial intelligence. That's the European Union Act on Artificial Intelligence. According to Article 27 of this act, before implementing a high-risk artificial intelligence systems and AI in the justice systems, according to this law, is a high-risk system, it is necessary to assess the impact of such a system on fundamental rights. And of course, the criteria on which such an assessment should be based are debatable. Maybe in this respect, it is worth taking a close look at the Colombian case, because that case I have told you had road through a constitutional court of Colombia, and the constitutional court of Colombia at the end said that there was no violation of the constitutional right to a fair trial in that case, and it proposed some criteria for assessments on how to take a look at the specific AI system to consider whether it infringes the right to a fair trial or not. But at the end, I would like to say that AI itself is no longer a dream in the justice system. I believe it is a future reality, but perhaps still somewhat distant. So thank you very much for now. I will be happy to answer questions later, but first, let's see whether there are any other possible obstacles to replace a human judge. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Marius. And now we will listen. Agora vamos ouvir a doutora Beata Załucka.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's try it on this way.
It's all right.
Now, dear Sir President, dear Madam Professor, dear professors, judges, and probably students, I'm very pleased to be with you today here and share with you some thoughts about using AI in judiciary. The subject of my speech, like you can see, is in what category of cases can AI replace the judges? Are there any? Well, I think that all women here in this classroom knows perfectly that the most precious things, like was singing Marilyn Monroe, was a ring with diamonds. But it was long time ago. In 1950s, this Hollywood sentence was one of the most famous. Actually, but originally, you need to know that this sentence came from Poland. During the Second World War, the Germans created special zones in which, of course, there was not enough food. So the ring with diamonds, you can change it for 2 onions and survive. And a lot of Polish emigrate to US. That's why that famous sentence that the best thing what women can have, there are diamonds. But today, the most precious things which we all can have, not only the women's, it's not actually ring with diamonds, but the data, the information. We live in a 20th century, in a century of the revolution connected with information. But you need to know that information is precious, not only because it's connected with the money, but it's just a food for the algorithms. Well, when we first time, as a human, as a normal me, Beata, as a normal all of you, saw that the algorithms can think like a human, just like McCarthy said in 1955. Well, the first time, it was very long time ago, in 1995. You will ask me, what happened there? Well, Garry Kasparov, very famous Russian chess player, was playing in a chess with the algorithm. The first party, he really won. But 1 year after he won with algorithm, he lost 3-2 to 5. Then what was happened? He was playing with one of the previous version of Deep Blue. What was happened then? Much more precised, better version of Deeper Blue. The algorithm which was playing chess. Oh, sorry. Oh. Was playing with another version of the algorithm. This algorithm was called AlphaGo 0. This algorithm didn't have any of the chess play in his memory. He just knew the rule, how to play. And what was happened? After 3 days of playing with the Deeper Blue, he won. 100 party chess plays, white by one. Then it was actually 3 days, after 3 days of learning, AlphaGo 0 showed the world that algorithm can just learn, just like all of we today here. What we're doing this actually every day. And actually today, the main question we need to ask each other is what kind of artificial intelligence today we have. Because if it can self-learning, so is existing only the weak artificial intelligence created by the programmers, put it on the software, or today is existing the second artificial intelligence, this which was created by itself, which by basing on self-learning, not only reborn itself, but have an influence on our everyday life. Well, it is a very interesting question to which I will come back at the end of my speech. But today, that's what we need. It's not chess play in judiciary, but the algorithm. We all know that. Why do we need algorithmic court? Professor Załucki was saying about inefficiency of the judicial system. Sorry. Professor Załucki was saying, because it's not moving, I need to move from here. Professor Załucki was saying about inefficiency in judicial system. You need to know that all over the world, the reasons of inefficiency are the same. Connected with too many cases, not enough. What? Oh, well, thank you. Too many cases, not enough numbers of judges and staff of the courts, and not enough financial of the courts. No matter in which country, everywhere is the same situation. But what is very important, in Europe, is very popular sentence, justice delayed is justice denied. I will try to show you that today we can't actually, as a state, exist properly without AI in a judiciary, because the numbers of cases it's just not actually, it's too large for humans. That's why, actually, in whole of the Europe, the highest number of trusted judiciary is in Germany. It's of course connected with the period of solving the cases. The second, actually, Spain, it is trust on 37% in Poland. Generally, it is 28%. We all in whole of the Europe, but in whole of the world, want to solve cases quicker, much quicker than we do it now. So, in whole of the world, we tried AI experiments quite early. The first one actually started in 2016. It was connected with the Human Rights Court. And what's very important, for 584 cases pending on before the European Court of Human Rights, algorithm predicts 79%. The same experiment was actually in US, and it was connected with the almost 30,000 of cases. What's very important, very different one, from civil to criminal cases, and algorithm predicts 70% of them. This what you see down in 2020. The same experiment was the first, but what was the difference? In the first experiment, was connected with the 3 articles: prohibition of torture, right to fair trial, and the second actually right to have a private life. But the last, which you see here, was connected with the much large number of cases, and algorithm predicts still 70% of cases. Today in China, this algorithm not only can predict, but is taking 4% of the cases. I will show you how he do that. Well, in whole of the world, we are dividing the using AI in judiciary on 3 models. Well, I am dividing it, at least. We've got 3 models: active model, auxiliary model, and preventive model of using AI in judiciary. How they looks like? Active model is in China. China has one integrated system. What you need to know that China shows outside only this what they wanted to see. We will see, to show us. So it is really very difficult to know every details how the algorithm there works. But they have one integral system. What means that it's not method that is quote in Beijing or in Peking. Every court decision is unified in one system. But how it looks like taking decision by the judge, or I said better, by the algorithm. The first step of decision is taken by the AI. So you will ask me, what is the rule for the human? Oh, he's a supervisor. But I will try to show you that it's not real supervising. Why? Because of few reasons, but one is the most important. Because if the judge is not agree with the decision of the algorithm, he or she is writing justification. The essence of this justification is not answer the question, I am taking this decision because in the case I see this, this, and this. No, it's completely not in this way. Justification, in this justification, judge need to show why he is not agree with the algorithm. So this is the main base for the justification. And what's more, what's there is happening? This is very important thing. Commission in which is 3 other judge is reading this justification, let's say better explanation, and then is deciding that the algorithm has right or the judge have right. But there is one huge problem. If 3 times this judge won't have right, he can be removed from his chair. So I will ask you, we all are lawyers here. What kind of independence is that? You need to know 2 more.
This is China.
Yeah, well, this is the answer, but I don't think that the best. But I think that the main problem is from the second side. You see, this main algorithm in judiciary was accepted by the King Jong-un, which is the leader of the country, and by the parliament. So you need to be very brave as a judge to say, oh, this algorithm is wrong. And from my perspective, which I was observing these 3 last years, at start, there were judges who was saying, no, the algorithm is wrong. Now this is not existing. The algorithm have right. But I'm sure that this is not surprising you, because I wasn't surprised. I was even surprised that it took so long time, actually. Well, so like you can see in China, in China, actually, in every type of case, the algorithm can work and is working. Well, with auxiliary model is a little bit different, because what are the main rules of this model? The first, the judge has many tools. They have different names, can act in a different way. But what is the most important? He's got many tools, but the last decision in case the judge is taken by his own. And what's more, he's by his own is deciding, I will use this tool or not. I can judge without them. Well, in US here, you've got actually the main algorithm in USA. But like I said, they all are connected with the decision. Using of them is connected with the decision of the judge. Not this algorithm, they are not taking the decision by the judge. I think the most important is LUM-DLS, because he predicts the actually trends. So it's very similar to the Victor one, which you've got in here, actually. In Spain, very interesting, very often when we are talking about the future of the algorithm, everyone is saying in family cases, it is not possible to use algorithm. Birati, which actually is connected with the deal with the custody care in divorce cases, it's showing that in family cases, algorithm can be used just like in criminal cases or every other ones.
No emotions.
Yeah, this is a little bit true. Because in my opinion, every algorithm which are written by the humans have our emotions. It's not possible for us to create, but that's the other thing. Let's go back. In German have a many problem connected with the digitalization of the ACTA, court documents. So this kind of type of algorithm which you see here actually are mostly used to define or to the fines, to the counting of the fines, or to counting of the compensations. But like I said, the most problem of Germans is just like in Polish. In Polish is the same. It's a food. If algorithm will work only then when it will have enough food. And food, it means every case connected with articles. Digitalized, of course. And the Brazil, it's for me example, this algorithm are for me example of the auxiliary model, which I think.
You're the judge side.
Yeah, prevention model. Well, the other model, like you see, the first of them, compass. A lot of you is thinking about the biases connected with compass. And I'm telling you that's not true. You will ask me, how's that possible? If for black skin color, this algorithm was designing punishment 2 times higher than for white skin color people. And I will tell you the other thing. The compass was created on the base of the statistics. Statistics from Chicago, New York, and Virginia. On a base of that, algorithm have one very simple data. The people with black skin color was taking the crimes. 5 minutes, thank you very much. 2 times more often than with white skin color. So when algorithm had that kind of information, so the penalty for the black skin color people was 2 times higher. So what kind of discrimination is that? Of course, it's not properly from the perspective of human rights and the individual punishment, but it's still connected with the statistics. Me and dog, we have 3 legs because both of us, we have 6 finger. Next. Well, the other very interesting one connected with the prevention model is spread pool, because spread pool is showing 2 things. One, what kind of crime will be taken and where. He's like the tarot card, but let's say much more predictable. But it's very important in US right now. One of, I think, to the police, I think one of the most important. Well, in Europe, we have a lot of algorithms, but mostly they are connected with the criminal law. You can see some of them here. Now, you will ask me, what will be the future of AI in judiciary? In what kind of cases it will replace the judge? And you see the number here, 93%. This is not the number of the in which I predict. No, this is the number about what fell down using AI in July. You will ask me what happened in July, that only 7% of population normally use AI, which normally is statistically is 100, right? What was happened? Well, the kids get out of the school. They have a holiday, vacation. So it shows which generation is using AI as a normal tool. Every day, get up, oh, what I should buy, how to do with my homework. Young generation is using AI just like we my generation, sorry, because there are younger of me, just like I use cell phone or food normally. It's the part of the life. So if you will ask me about the future, in my generation, probably until my generation is in work, is working generation in judiciary, there will be part of the case in which judiciary won't be used. But even this, I'm not sure. But I'm sure one thing. In the generation of my sons, they won't be any of that case. Even in the Supreme Court, in every country, of course, in the most complicated cases, AI will replace a judge. Professor Załucki was saying about the biases, about threats, about risk of using AI. And I will tell you about just the one thing, because I know that I'm speaking too long. So let me, give me just 5 minutes. The highest risk, which I see right now, connected with the using AI is in judiciary. It's absolutely, those are not biases, those are not hallucination, those are not the black boxes. It's completely not that. It's the one thing. It's the self-replication problem. In Europe, the most important problem connected with using AI is a privacy, it's a hallucination. In US, hallucination and right now are at the first place, especially that from the news from 2 days ago, in Instagram, there was torn off the possibility to speaking kids with the algorithm, because the kid stops. We were talking about it today. The kids stop speaking to each other. They start to speaking to ChatGPT. So that possibility on Instagram won't turn off to the kids, so the kids can control it. But even this, but that's in US. In Europe, like I said, it's privacy, etc. I don't know what's the main problem here, probably how to use it in Brazil, because you've got so many of them that how to use it and what we can do more. It's, I think, the best question. But for me today, the most dangerous, the highest risk of using AI is self-replication. When you will open the Google and you will write how the algorithm fight for survive, you will see on YouTube hundreds, not tens, hundreds right now, films connected with the surviving fight. For example, there is a robot which looks like a human, of course. He's chained to the wall. He's torn off. When the programmist tried to change the main program, he's turning on without any commands. And what's more, he's fighting with a full force to get released, to not change his program. He's fighting for survive. The programmist, of course, had the possibility to change the program because he wasn't released both hands, only one and one leg. But maybe what will happen after 30 next seconds? There is another film. I'm against violence, but it was just the experiment. 3 men is pushing one robot. They are playing by him. They are pushing him one to another side. For start, the robot is not doesn't have any reaction. What is happening then? When he falling down, he gets up. And he was pushed, and he pushing the human. You will, in internet, you will see hundreds of information about this, that. For example, oh, I don't have my cell phone, but people remove from the software, from the phones, from the computers, some algorithms. And what was happened? After month, week, or after hour, they saw that parts of this algorithm which they deleted is still on the software, just in another files. So I know that right now we really need AI, because without AI, we can't actually, right now, the state can't work efficiently. But we need to still have right now in our bag that we could create some hybrid which can eat us. Because right now, it can be really very dangerous, something what we don't know. And the algorithm, the possibility of the algorithm, we really don't know all of them. Thank you very much.
If I may add something, yeah?
Right.
Okay. I hope my voice will work now. As you can see, there are 2 points of view. I said that I do believe that the future of the judiciary is artificial. As I understood, she thinks maybe not. There are many obstacles. I would like to add 2 things maybe for now. The first one is that the algorithms that were presented, the one from the Spain, Germany, Brazil, or the US, I do believe that they are not the future of the judiciary because of many flaws, of many problems associated with them. Okay, but I believe that the work of lawyers and algorithm constructors can develop the algorithm that meets all the standards associated with a right to a fair trial. We just need to debate on what criteria these algorithms shall meet. And we do have to convince ourselves, because lack of trust in the work of the judiciary using algorithms is a big obstacle to use the algorithms on a big scale, with the many things that were already said today about the flaws of the algorithms. And the second thing I would like to mention, because this is a very new information, a few days ago I have heard about the judge deciding a case using algorithm in Portugal. So it's in Portuguese, you can probably find the decision somewhere. I haven't seen the decision, I just know it from the media. And the judge has decided the case on fake arguments using fake articles of law and fake precedents. He asked ChatGPT or some other tool and has done a copy-paste from that answer to the judgment. He didn't check, so differently than in Colombia. And because of that, he has now, because of using artificial intelligence tools, he has disciplinary proceedings. Well, probably in this case, it is correct because he used something that he didn't check. So we do have to beware of what we are doing in this area, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't be doing it. Thank you.
Muito obrigado, doutora Beata, ministro Marius. Eu estou à frente aqui no nosso Tribunal de Justiça de um comitê, o comitê que cuida da inteligência artificial. No, working? It's not working. Eu estava dizendo que estou à frente aqui de um comitê no Tribunal de Justiça do Rio de Janeiro de inteligência artificial. E acho que seria interessante, não sei o tempo que vocês teriam ainda, de conhecer, nós temos no Brasil um Conselho Nacional de Justiça, e o Conselho Nacional de Justiça, em 2020, elaborou uma primeira resolução sobre o uso de inteligência artificial no Poder Judiciário, e agora, em março de 2025, após uma audiência pública que durou 3 dias, na verdade, nós tivemos a elaboração de uma nova resolução, que é a Resolução 615, em que se estabelecem exatamente princípios muito parecidos com, ou pelo menos muito baseados no sistema da legislação europeia, no ato da União Europeia para o uso da inteligência artificial, e com uma preocupação muito grande do Conselho Nacional de Justiça de nós treinarmos ferramentas de inteligência artificial dedicadas, ou seja, que elas não estariam sujeitas a uma rede aberta, portanto, que os tribunais, ou que alguns tribunais, desenvolvessem sistemas trabalhando numa base de dados fechada, para que a gente pudesse evitar essa chamada alucinação, como já referido, onde a decisão judicial pudesse estar fundamentada em informações falsas ou em jurisprudência falsa, coisas desse tipo. E a nossa ferramenta de inteligência artificial aqui do tribunal, ela tem um nome ASSIS, que é um assistente para a elaboração de minutas, ou seja, dentro desta ideia do uso de um sistema de inteligência artificial auxiliar. E o Conselho Nacional de Justiça, eu acho também seria interessante, acho que em termos de pesquisa, para vocês fazerem essas comparações, o Conselho Nacional de Justiça tem uma plataforma digital do Poder Judiciário brasileiro. E essa plataforma digital, a PDPJ, que é essa plataforma digital do Poder Judiciário brasileiro, ela apresenta várias soluções, inclusive trazidas por outros tribunais. Houve a referência aqui ao Vitor, que já foi referido pela professora, e existem outras, e uma das ferramentas também sido bastante utilizada é aqui do TRF2, que é o Apoia. TRF2 é o Tribunal Regional Federal, que funciona aqui no Rio de Janeiro, a Justiça Federal. E, enfim, são sistemas que têm sido usados dentro dessa ideia de que nós optamos, né, no modelo, porque nós temos uma preocupação muito grande com a proteção de dados, nós temos uma lei geral de proteção de dados, a LGPD, que tem uma preocupação muito grande, principalmente com a proteção dos dados sensíveis. E no Poder Judiciário, certamente, as pessoas depositam informações muito sensíveis, né? Então, informações relevantes que não podem estar perdidas aí numa base de dados para treinar uma inteligência artificial, por exemplo, nos moldes de um chat GPT aberto, um Gemini, ou enfim, Llama, ou qualquer uma outra, Copilot, ou qualquer um desses outros sistemas utilizados em grande escala. Então, a ideia é termos uma ferramenta dedicada, e essa ferramenta, trabalhando numa base mais fechada, ela é fruto de um contrato, o Tribunal de Justiça do Rio, como também o Tribunal Regional Federal, trabalha num modelo de LLM, né, de linguagem, num molde chat GPT, num molde GPT, para que a gente possa ter esse transformador generativo pré-treinado, esse GPT, em condições de atender à demanda, que seria a demanda fechada do tribunal, mas dentro dessa opção de auxiliar do juiz. Paralelamente a isso, a Pontifícia Universidade Católica do Rio de Janeiro, onde eu e a professora Vânia, não sei se você ainda continua, mas nem eu nem ela, há muitos anos, onde nós lecionamos durante muito tempo, a PUC do Rio está desenvolvendo uma ferramenta que seria uma ODR, uma solução que está sendo, inclusive, testada aqui no Tribunal de Justiça, chamada, em português, Mais Acordo, que seria uma ferramenta mais acordo, totalmente automatizada para permitir que a pessoa pudesse ter a demanda dentro de um sistema, um active model, como referiu a professora, de a demanda ser proposta e feita a contraproposta pela própria ferramenta, no sentido de obter uma solução que seria só ao final levada ao juiz para a homologação. Então, é uma ferramenta que está sendo desenvolvida junto com o pessoal da PUC, do Rio de Janeiro, e para trabalhar principalmente nas demandas que nós temos aqui de relações de consumo, que são chamados juizados especiais, onde nós trabalhamos com questões de menor valor, não? Então, essas questões seriam resolvidas através de um modelo ativo de inteligência artificial para possibilitar uma mediação, um acordo, não propriamente um julgamento. Então, a própria plataforma faria essa mediação. Nessa plataforma se inscrevem também, normalmente são as empresas fornecedoras e tal, e haveria ali um modelo de propostas e contrapropostas, e a própria ferramenta negociaria esse acordo, e dentro de modelos preditivos, né, de ter alguns parâmetros já previamente definidos, daria uma solução. E se as pessoas estivessem de acordo, os demandantes e demandados, já iria somente para o juiz homologar. Ao final é que entraria a atuação judicial. Então, são possibilidades que temos também pensado e tentado desenvolver para, certamente, construir essa possibilidade do uso dessas ferramentas. Então, eu fico muito feliz de ouvir as reflexões, que foram reflexões para todos nós muito úteis. Temos esse comitê que se reúne para fazer esse debate sobre as questões éticas e o enfrentamento dos problemas que podem vir a acontecer com o uso dessas ferramentas de inteligência artificial, e é um processo que está em bom andamento, que eu diria, mas sempre, e essa é uma questão que nós nos ressentimos muito, sempre na dependência de algoritmos ou de modelos que são modelos que têm dono, né? São modelos que pertencem a grandes corporações, e isso é uma outra discussão, que é a questão, falávamos hoje lá no outro evento exatamente sobre isso, sobre a questão da soberania digital e dessa dependência que ficamos de algoritmos definidos a partir, como diz não sei se conhecem o Caetano Veloso. Caetano Veloso chama de anjos tronchos do Vale do Silício, para usar uma expressão, ou seja, ficaríamos na dependência desses modelos assembled in California.
Well, dear professor, in Poland we've got another sentence, a very important one. None of the men can be independent judges. Well, if he has a wife. So, so let's say that kind of independence isn't fully independent.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
Cybersecurity issues.
Yeah.
Great thing. You know that the president was saying about cybersecurity, and in Poland, because of the contact with the Russian and because of the war on Ukraine, is the most often attacked country in all over the world. It's incredible, but it really is. We even doubled the US. So it's a lot.
I guess attack every day here.
Yes. And you need to know Russia right now, and every algorithm which we're today about, we were talking about it. You need to know that every algorithm from all over the world, especially from Europe, since AI Act started to act in Europe, a lot of algorithms, especially connected with the election and democracy, was banned, actually prohibited in European Union. And every one of them connected with the election, connected with the market, connected with the preferences, micro-targeting, were bought by the South Arabic and Emirates. So I think that we have two more on the map of algorithms. We've got two more players. It's not only China, India, US, but I think very soon, in a very short period of time, we will have new players there, not only the Russians, hackers.
Oh. But it seems like Brazil is one of the leaders
Yes.
in this area.
Definitely.
Because when we were, preparing not only for this meeting, but also when we were thinking about how to create the future of the judiciary in European countries, the example of Brazil is always somewhere there. We often refer to the Brazilian case and to the algorithms you are using because they are the tools that they are already in practice. And of course, they have many flaws, especially from the perspective of human rights. They're not transparent. You don't know how exactly this system works, but we don't care about it. We only care about the outcome of these systems. And with the big backlog of cases, well, it is better to have the cases solved, even if the use of the system is not very transparent. At the end, maybe in the future, the algorithms will be more transparent. We will gain more trust in the algorithms. And in this way, there are chances that there will be more possibilities for the algorithms to be used in the judiciary. And finally, after some time, they will replace us. You will see.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cláudio, antes de encerrar, eu queria só fazer um agradecimento aqui aos presentes por estarem, né, nesse evento nosso, nos prestigiando. Queria agradecer aos alunos do programa de pós-graduação de Direito da UERJ, mestrado, doutorado, que estão aqui presentes e que muitos são estudiosos da inteligência artificial. Agradecer ao procurador da UERJ, doutor Leonardo, que está aqui também representando a universidade, os alunos da Celso Lisboa, que estão aqui prestigiando nosso evento, alunos do nosso doutor Caio Guerra, querido colega ali da OAB, professor e também membro da Comissão de Direito Constitucional, doutor Douglas também, representando a Comissão de Direito Constitucional e professor de Direito, conselheira da Ordem, doutora Fátima Henriette, presidente da Comissão, né, da Pessoa Idosa, sempre uma entusiasta dos eventos aqui da EMERJ, sempre prestigiando. Queria agradecer ao doutor Luiz Cláudio, professor do IBMEC e também na nossa Comissão de Direito Constitucional, doutor Márcio Fortes, também professor do IBMEC, prestigiando, né, o nosso evento, todos dois também muito inteirados, né, com o direito comparado. Nossa estimada procuradora Lúcia Ferreira, que também foi palestrante, né, no dia de hoje, e agradecer, sobretudo, né, a todas as pessoas que compõem aqui o corpo da EMERJ, né, e que tanto fizeram para que esse evento pudesse ser realizado. Agradecer ao Maurício, professor Maurício, professora Rita, que são sempre, né, nossos maiores entusiastas, né, para que os eventos possam acontecer. E a você, desembargador Cláudio, muito obrigada. Quando tive essa primeira ideia, né, propus ao desembargador, que é presidente aqui da escola. Desde o primeiro momento, né, ele acolheu nossa ideia e eu tenho muita gratidão pelo desembargador Cláudio, porque sempre ele teve, ao longo de toda a sua vida, a sensibilidade de perceber o pioneirismo, os novos temas, sempre à frente do seu tempo, procurando, né, dar um passo à frente para que nós possamos, né, desenvolver coisas um pouco diferentes do que o déjà vu da rotina, do cotidiano, né? E é isso que faz a marca, né, de um grande professor, de um grande magistrado gigante como ele é. Muito obrigada, Cláudio, por tudo.
Vânia, eu não tenho palavras para agradecer o que você disse e é uma recíproca verdadeira. Desde o tempo que nos conhecemos lá na PUC, eu não vou dizer há quanto tempo, mas pelo menos tem mais de 2 anos, talvez com algum zero a mais. E, em nome da Escola da Magistratura do Rio de Janeiro, eu quero passar ao excelentíssimo senhor ministro Mário Załucka, em reconhecimento por sua contribuição como conferencista neste evento, manifestando a gratidão do Conselho Consultivo, dos alunos e todos os colaboradores da Escola da Magistratura do Rio de Janeiro, uma placa de reconhecimento. Também a professora, o nosso certificado de agradecimento. E também a professora. E a professora Vânia também, seu certificado para currículo Lattes.
Uma igualdade.
Muito obrigado. Obrigado a todos e a todas. We'll take a photo down. Aqui, primeiro? Ah, tá. Com a plaquinha. Ah, shoot, with the Boente. Como que você quer fazer? Ok, ela vai tirar a sua roupa. Vou dar um silêncio.
Descemos?
Deixa eu só tirar essa carteira para
Ah,
assim. Não foi fácil. Estamos a escrever foto.
Yeah.
Com amor.